I have issues with friends of partners after my ex-girlfriend cheated on me and was pressured to dump me by her friends. Quite frequently I see one of the partners lock onto a single situational misstep and dig into it until they hate the other person. And it's not always the partner themselves that decided to fixate on the problem. It's other people pressuring the partner and pushing their opinions. I have had such an issue with unprofessional relationship advice in the past because nothing is more subjective than a person's romantic life. Finding out that the reason your partner cut you off wasn't even a personal decision takes second on relationship pain for me. The first is cheating. Obviously, I have decided to ask for said unprofessional relationship advice, otherwise I wouldn't be here. I figure, now that I'm not in an active relationship, this is a wise decision. The girl I lost my virginity to dumped me after 5 months, for 2 reasons. Her best friend didn't like me because I knew her boyfriend's ex while he was dating that ex. And she, the ex, was a little touchy-feely. I didn't do anything in turn. One time when we hung out while they were on a dating break, they were basically allowed to do whatever they wanted and would revisit the relationship in a month. Prior to the end of their relationship, it's bullshit. And no, the best friend would always exaggerate any flaw I displayed, as well as talking shit to people who didn't know me at every opportunity. My ex-girlfriend was also cheating on me for almost a month when she dumped me. She used the, "hey, he's gay" excuse. I bet he feels really gay in bed. I found out about the cheating a month after she dumped me, when a friend told me the two were dating. Let's just say I didn't handle it well. She typed out a list of events as reasons for dumping me. Here are some of the major ones. 1. November 16th, got upset when I was planning to take my best friend to a concert, pierced the veil that under different circumstances I would have taken him. When circumstances changed, I told him I would probably not be able to take him. She was originally planning to take me and absolutely did not tell me when that changed. For the record, I had driven to Virginia Beach from Southern NC taking her to a Foo Fighters concert. Also, the concert ended up getting cancelled. 2. November 25th. Had to be on the phone with me while I was trying to play a board game with a new boyfriend's parents. Also had to be on the phone while I was in a new boyfriend's room. 3. December 3rd. Got into an argument with me, and while I changed how she tried a different approach and didn't antagonize him, he continued to antagonize me. He then later blamed it on being sick. I was sick. The next morning, I repeatedly apologized and told her that I appreciated the shift in approach. All of this was over me watching my ex do his engineering design work over Discord. We were both muted, I was literally just watching. In the morning, he gets upset that I told said friend and raises his voice at me. She ended up dumping me. One ill-thought-out rebound later, and I still can't get her out of my head. Her birthday was a couple days ago, I cried. I miss her more than the world. It's been 3 months. If she came back, I would get back with her without a second thought. That's not gonna happen. Back to my problem. I have always had massive issues with abandonment. Therapist thinks borderline personality disorder. And that relationship has made me very paranoid about other people voicing negative opinions out of spite and just cheating with friends in general. How do I deal with this so I can stop wrecking friendships or making issues worse? I'm looking for general thought processes and strategies for these situations. I need to figure this out before I start dating again. You're definitely not off base with the fact that some so-called friends can swoop in and steal your girlfriend once the damage to the relationship is already done. It's not insecurities, it's just that your ex and her friend are assholes. Would I be the antagonist if I refused to babysit my sister and cousins? So I, 16 years old female, and my mom were talking last night and she mentioned that her and my dad were going to go on a date tonight and asked if I could babysit my younger sister, 5 years old, and only her. I said sure because I low-key need money. This morning I walk downstairs and say hi to my mom and start talking to her. Randomly she mentions we have to clean the house today. I was a little confused because we usually deep clean the house every Saturday, so I ask why. This is when she mentions that my cousins are coming over, 4 years old female, 3 years old male, 2 years old male. Again, I was confused, so I asked why they would be coming over, and she said that I would be babysitting tonight. I immediately tell her that she didn't ask me beforehand, and that she said I would only need to babysit my sister. She says that she was going to go on a date and then go to an event with my aunts and uncles. Now, don't get me wrong, I love my cousins, but they are very hard to deal with. I can deal with screaming children, but they are on a different level and I get super stressed if I have to watch only 2 of them. So 4 is going to be a challenge. My other sister, 13 years old, will also be there, but she kinda just sits there the entire time, and I usually have to take care of them. When I only babysit my sister, I can have her in my room playing with Barbies or something while I read, so babysitting her is easy. I am now really mad at my mom for just setting me up with this babysitting job without even mentioning it to me until like an hour ago, especially when I probably won't get paid a lot for it. So, would I be the worst if I refused? Not the antagonist, she did the old bait and switch. Demand more money or refuse, whichever you prefer. And they can all chip in for a babysitter. A 16-year-old shouldn't be expected to handle 4 near toddlers, with or without their agreeing to it. Don't ever let anyone change the terms of an agreement like this on you. Stand up for yourself. Am I the antagonist for not letting my kids play with their cousins over a haircut? My in-laws are wonderful people and we enjoy spending time with them. We do, frequently. We are also lucky enough that they are happy to watch my children while my husband and I get breaks. When we had children, my husband and I announced their names. Let's say Harrison and William. When we told my husband's family, they were mostly supportive. His sister's family told me they would call them Harry and Billy. I said I'd prefer them to choose their own nicknames. Yet they made customized gifts for them with those names before they could talk. By kindergarten, Harrison preferred his given name, and Billy will only go by Billy because he looks up to his older cousins and that's what they call him. We had some other minor disagreements, like breastfeeding, the preschool that worked for us, and a diagnosis the children have that always felt like my parenting was being judged, but other than a few breakdowns, everything has been okay. The current situation, our children are in early elementary school, their cousin is in high school, we'll call him Kai. There's been a lot of pressure for them to join the same sports as their cousin. Those sports I found a bit toxic in this community from substitute teaching, having middle schoolers throwing up their lunches in the bathrooms to make weight and bragging about coaches, sending them out with concussions. My children are in their own clubs and sports and we frankly don't have time to have them do more. But every time we go to one of these sports they get heavy pressure, to the point where they criticize what Billy eats at celebratory meals because it has sugar or fat. Last time, Billy, who already has sensory issues regarding food, stopped eating. It was a huge struggle because he wouldn't touch carbs or meat. He skipped cake at a birthday party. They also teased him about his hair, which he has always preferred long. Now, we recently left on a week-long trip. My mother-in-law was watching my kids. She lives close to everyone, so I knew they'd all be spending time together. I was so excited to see my sons when I got back. Except, Billy's hair is cut. Like the back is super short and the front is longish. Okay, we get in the car and Billy says, "They made me cut my hair," and I asked who, thinking sports or school. Kai, Dadir. I'm disappointed. I guess my face showed what I felt because he started backpedaling, saying he agreed to an inch, but the barber took off more. His haircut does not look good, even objectively, and will require more styling than his normal ponytail. On top of that, school photos are next week and my son doesn't look like my son. I'm just so over them trying to turn Billy into a little Kai. Don't get me wrong, Kai is great and I love him, but the amount of influence his family has on Billy is unhealthy. Would I be the asshole if I start separating my children from their family so they can express their own identities without pressure or judgment? It's important to protect your children from negative influences, even if they are family. Creating separation and setting boundaries to allow your kids to express their own identities without pressure or judgment is crucial. Boys can develop eating disorders too, so it's essential to show them they can create their own identity. Stand up for your kids and prioritize their well-being. My wife got upset. I liked another woman's dress at a dance party. Hello everyone, I need some advice on this particular situation because I'm not really sure anymore if I'm in the right or wrong or how to fix it. My spouse and I have been married for 5 years, and we go to a lot of parties together. Dance parties, costume parties, themed parties, etc. Many of the times we are not sober. I will leave it at that. My spouse is normally fine with other individuals in general, but can have some strange boundaries. For example, if we meet an individual at a party or event, and they follow me on social media, but not my spouse, they get very upset. However, they do not care if a person of another gender does the same with me. They say while they do feel males and females are equal, they don't think all interactions between them are, and some things are not appropriate for opposite gender interactions when someone is in a relationship. We went to a party last weekend, and when we were dancing, a friend of ours came over with some of their friends, one of whom is the individual in question. They were wearing this sheer rhinestone type of dress that had a cool pattern done with the rhinestones. I pointed to their dress and told them it was really awesome. This was in front of everyone, no secret conversation or anything. My spouse didn't say anything at the time. A few days later we were watching TV, and there was an individual in a similar dress in one of the scenes. My spouse made a passive comment about it, "Your favorite outfit." I asked them what they meant, and they brought up the individual at the party and said I didn't need to give them that kind of attention. I told them it wasn't sexual at all, the dress seemed cool, and I was not sober, so I was more open about it. They said they didn't appreciate me making that comment because the dress was sheer and clearly made to draw attention to the individual's naked body by only covering the private areas. They said it would be different if it was a more modest item like a jacket, but they feel I was validating the individual's need for sexual attention. I told them that wasn't the intention at all, and that if they had made that comment about a person's clothing, I wouldn't be upset. They said they wouldn't make that comment in the first place because it's disrespectful. Another day passed and they hadn't brought it up, but I could tell they were feeling off. I tried to bring it up again gently to let them know I could tell something was wrong. They got annoyed and said I should apologize and just not do that type of stuff anymore instead of trying to constantly convince them it was innocent. It's been 2 days since that, and I can tell my spouse is still kind of upset. I don't want them to feel insecure, and I will certainly refrain from making any more comments about people's outfits at parties, but I don't feel like I should have to apologize for a comment with no bad intentions. How can I reconcile with my spouse and avoid this situation in the future without also having to completely avoid any individual in a social setting like a dance party? How should I phrase things in the future to avoid any misconstrued meanings? I think you may be taking this situation too far by completely avoiding any woman in a social setting. Your wife simply asked you not to make comments on another woman's revealing outfit, which is a reasonable request. It's important to consider your wife's feelings in this situation and validate them, even if you don't feel like you did anything wrong. It's worth reflecting on whether your compliment was based on the dress itself or how the woman looked in it. And consider if your compliments tend to focus on physical features or are mainly of a sexual nature. Variety in compliments is key. Remember, it's not about being right or wrong. It's about your wife's feelings and making her feel comfortable in social settings. My boyfriend has been having trouble finding a job. How can I help? My boyfriend, Steven, and I have been together for almost 8 years. He is a very kind, caring, and interesting man, which is why I fell in love with him. Steven has an affinity for computers. He is a self-taught programmer and is pretty good at back-end web development. He has always wanted to become a programmer ever since I met him, and I have been right by his side, encouraging him to work hard and pursue his dreams. The problem with this is that Steven also is uninterested in attending college. He didn't do well in traditional schooling due to anxiety, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD, and other reasons, and his family never attended college, so also never pushed him to go. This was never an issue, as he always held stable jobs and was even able to land a few in the information technology field. However, he was laid off by his last company in August of 2023 and is still looking for work. His last job was extremely emotionally draining for him, so at first, we were almost relieved that he had been laid off. But weeks have turned into months. This is not by any means to say that he hasn't been looking. He's been looking for positions every day in the field and has had between 40-50 unsuccessful interviews since last year. I cannot even imagine how stressed and downtrodden he must feel, so I try not to pressure him. Sometimes, he'll ask me to send him job postings, but when I do, half of the time they're not what he's looking for, or not something he's qualified for. We've had talks about him looking for work outside of the IT field, but he wants to be fulfilled by his work and work in this field. He had gotten a position for about 1 week a few months ago and quit immediately afterwards because it was not what he had expected, and required him to go into hazardous locations without proper personal protective equipment, PPE. I understand why he quit. He has looked at getting its certifications, but he never goes through with them. He says that part of the reason is because they are expensive, but I have told him several times that I would pay for the certifications. He also has not had health insurance for a long time and is not regulating his anxiety and ADHD, which has caused him to lose focus. He has tried to sign up for college 3 times in the 8 years we have been together, but each time he backs out at the last minute. I think he is trying to land a programming job without a degree, but he is not able to focus long enough to complete his portfolio and teach himself everything. He's convinced himself that college is a scam, even though he sees the success it has brought me. I work full-time and am pursuing my master's degree simultaneously. A lot has gone on in my life over the last 6 months. Moving, mother was diagnosed with cancer, grandpa passed, etc. And though he was on unemployment and used his savings to keep up with bills for months, his money has run out. We bought a fixer-upper, and he has said that since he's home, he'll fix things up and tidy up while I'm gone. But when I ask him to do a few chores while I'm at work, he either gets mad and says it's distracting him from his whole day, or he doesn't start doing them until I get home. I realize looking for a job can be a full-time job, but recently, he's been playing a lot more video games, and it's concerning me because I feel like he is just falling into a slump, and I have no idea what to do. My life is very challenging as it is with moving and family health issues, and I am starting to harbor a bit of resentment towards him. We've talked about marriage and children, but all of those plans have been put on hold until he finds gainful employment. I feel like I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place. I want to persist in asking him to find work or go back to school, but it's like he's pulled the parking brake on everything. I realize he might be going through some things mentally internally, but he doesn't have insurance and has not completed the process for receiving insurance, because he has a hard time completing things. I want to help him, but he needs to help himself. I feel like my life is on hold because of him sometimes, even though I'm growing in my career and in other ways. I love him so much and he loves me too, but I'm exhausted. Thank you for any advice, I truly appreciate it. It sounds like your boyfriend may need a reality check when it comes to his career aspirations. Without the necessary education and qualifications, finding a job in a competitive field will be extremely difficult. While there are options like trade schools or startups that may be more lenient, ultimately he needs to prioritize getting the proper training and certifications. It's important to set boundaries and communicate that his lack of action on this front is a deal breaker. Encouraging him to seek help and get on track with his education and mental health is crucial for his future success. Am I the antagonist for telling my parents that my brother is still getting bullied? I, 16-year-old male, have a brother, 15-year-old male, and we are both in high school. Last semester he was getting bullied by this group of seniors for reasons I don't know yet. My brother is very quiet and doesn't bother anyone. I wasn't made aware of the bullying until my parents and I saw him crying in his room one time, and he basically told us what happened. To say my parents were pissed would have been an understatement. They went to the school the next day and got the boys suspended, and I tried my best to stay around him to try and ensure they wouldn't bother him anymore. He had told us the bullying had stopped and we believed him. However, today when my brother and I were waiting on our mom to come and get us, I saw my brother's shirt was torn, like not even a small tear, it was practically ripped. I was concerned on what happened and I asked him about it. He first tried to brush me off and told me nothing happened, but then after I kept asking, he told me that one of the boys cut his shirt with a pair of scissors in their class together. I was completely shocked by this as I thought the bullying had stopped. He told me that it did stop for a while, but they just recently started back messing with him. He said that he's okay with it because it's not physical anymore and just insults. When our mom picked us up, she also noticed his shirt and asked what happened. He told our mom that he accidentally cut it. Our mom started to yell at him, asking him how he could accidentally cut his shirt to that degree, and I basically just told her the truth, revealing everything he had told me. He was not happy with this, but neither was our mom. She got even more mad and asked him why he would lie about something like that. He told her that he knew she would blow it out of proportion and that she would make a big deal out of nothing. I'm not trying to make this super long, so I'm gonna skip to when our dad got home. My dad was madder than I can describe. My dad said that he was going to go to the school and call the police. He said that they were lucky he didn't call the police last year, but he's not letting shit slide this year. He said that they messed around and about to find out. However, my brother was just crying and telling our parents that they were only going to make the situation worse and begging them not to call the police or go to the school. Our parents said that if they're cutting up his shirts now, who knows what they'll do next, and they're not about to wait and find out. My brother was mad and just kept crying, saying that he's going to get in even more trouble now. Our mom tried our best to comfort him, but he was inconsolable. When I tried to talk to him, he just screamed at me and told me that I was a snitch and that I just made his life way worse than it already was because they were going to leave anyway since they were seniors. He's now not speaking to me and is scared to go to school tomorrow. Not the antagonist. Your mom isn't mad at you, she's mad at the school and those bullies. It's important to de-escalate the situation and stand up for your brother. Bullies can escalate from minor incidents to serious harm, so it's important to take action now. Your brother needs to know he is supported and worth defending. It's important to stop the bullying and ensure consequences are faced. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist in the description.